broadcasting live 4 days a week worldwide
from the sunny beaches of Southern California.
This is ExtremeHealthRadio.com.
This is David Avocado Wolf of DavidWolf.com, and you are listening to Justin and Kate on Extreme Health Radio.
All right. Well, thank you, everybody, for joining us on round number 2 of ExtremeHealthRadio.com. I'm glad you're on our show today. This is episode number 186, and we are ExtremeHealthRadio.com. We broadcast worldwide 4 days a week. And if you'd like to follow what we're doing, love to have you a part of our show and a part of our network. You can always do that at ExtremeHealthRadio.com/Facebook. And you can follow our posts and stay up to date with our shows and our upcoming guests and all that good stuff. And this is the second show we're doing today.
Little Thanksgiving special.
Thanksgiving special, yeah.
A little extra. Love it.
And this is for reference. Let's see, what is it? Wednesday, November 27th. I'll get that right one of these days.
Round 2 and you still don't have it.
I still don't have it. I have no idea what day it is or what time it is.
We'll bounce through.
We'll bounce back.
Bounce. It's a little rebound joke there.
That's right, a little rebound joke. And like I said, this is episode number 186. So if you want to check out the show notes or make any comments about the show, you can go to that page, extremehealthradio.com/186, and make your comments that way. And if you have any questions, there's a lot of different ways you can join the show. We are now live, so you can go to extremehealthradio.com/live and listen to the live show as it's happening and join the chat room and ask your questions to our guests that way. Or you could email your questions to Justin at extremehealthradio.com.
Or Kate, Kate, at extremehealthradio.com.
And you can also send a pre-recorded voicemail if you'd like to us, and we can play your voicemail to our guest on the air. And you can do that right from your computer. And
you can re-record it if you don't like the way you sound.
If you don't sound good, you can always re-record that. And there's a little voicemail tab on the right-hand side of our website that you can check out if you're interested. And also, all of our shows are free. This is the 186th show we've done. And we do them all for free for you guys because we feel like this information is very important to get out. And we don't want people that really need it to not be able to listen to it and improve their health by having to pay. So everything is free, and one of the ways that we support our work here at Extreme Health Radio is to offer you guys the ability to support us through Amazon. So if you're making any holiday purchases during this time of year or any time of year, you can go to extremehealthradio.com/Amazon, and that would be a really great way, an easy way to support us. And you don't even have to buy anything health related. You can buy any product there on Amazon at any time, every time you make a purchase, and we'll get a little commission that will help keep the show free. And I want to thank all of you guys who have been doing that recently. It's really a huge help for us. Huge, huge help. So thank you all to you guys who have been doing that. And today we have John Hines on, as well as Stan from Bellicon USA. We're really excited about this. And they've been helping us with our Rebounder. We just purchased our own recently. And
finally.
Yeah, we've used them in the past, and now we've actually owned one, so we're really excited. And you guys are in Chicago. Is that right?
That's correct.
Yes. Chicago. It's temperature's a little different than it is in Southern California today.
just slightly, isn't it?
And it's around 20 degrees without the wind chill, I think.
Ooh. And it's very windy, as the name would suggest, and we have to be very careful when bouncing outside so they don't get blown away completely from the Bellicon midair.
That is in our disclaimer.
Because the Bellicon does lift you up off the mat, and you could be swept away.
That's, yes. There's, I think, a gale warning on the box.
Oh, my gosh. So you guys have been working for Bellicon for quite some time now?
For the better part of this year, actually, so not that long.
Yeah, and Philip and Saskia Kuhnhart, for those of you who don't know, brought the product over from Germany only about 4 years ago. So Bellicon USA is the direct distributor of the product to the United States market. Prior to that, it was available by import only directly from Germany. So they brought the product over in 2010 and set up shop here in Chicago and have been growing. And people are finding out about the Bellicon, and now you guys know about it and you talk about it. And but it's been growing. So over the past year, we've added people, and it's becoming a pretty popular product here. So John and I have been here for the better part of a year, working on a variety of things, mostly getting the word out there.
And it was only available in Europe before? Is that the deal?
Yeah, actually, they started it, the very beginnings of it were in 1985 with Philip's father actually started looking into this, who was actually his job for many years. He was in the military in Germany, and his job was to set up the athletic programs for all the soldiers. So he's had an interest, and he is actually a silver medalist in the World Games as a pentathlonist. The heck?
Wow.
Something like that.
Yeah.
5 different events. So it was 1985 that it first began, and then Bellicon, as we know it, was, I guess, 95, where Philip and his friend Heiko actually began the company. And
so they began in somewhere in Europe, and then
a garage in Europe. Yes,
a garage in Europe.
Wow.
And then when they started to take off, they moved to a barn. And that was the big step forward.
No way.
That's amazing.
It wasn't an occupied barn. It was a empty barn. So.
Those are the best shaped cows you've ever seen.
The cows were bouncing.
Those chickens were so happy bouncing all over the place.
Wow. And the eggs came out so easily.
That's amazing because with the Bellicon, it's so amazing how they're, you guys are using the bungees, instead of the springs. Right. And I don't know how it took so long because rebounding was, I used to see it in the 80s, people jumping on these things in the 70s.
With their leg warmers.
Right. Yeah, with their leg warmers in the 80s and stuff. And
right. It started I think it was the late 70s, and then it really took off in 1980, I think, is when it really started to kind of peak during that period because a study came out. I don't know if you've seen reference to this, but there was a NASA study. In those days, of course, there was a space program in the United States, so they were still planning ahead, and they were thinking, well, when we have astronauts out for extended periods of time in space, there's so much muscle degeneration for being in zero gravity, and they noticed the bone degeneration, too. And this happened even in shorter space trips. And they became concerned with it. How do we get these guys back in shape when they get back to Earth? So they studied a whole range of just about everything to see what would help them get their muscle strength back and their bone density. And after going through a lot of things, they came out with bouncing on a trampoline, which surprised everybody. And they said it was actually better in just about every way from running or other exercises you might expect.
Yeah, it's interesting. I heard a quote recently that NASA called it the most effective, efficient form of exercise known to man.
No, that wasn't NASA. Now, see,
it wasn't NASA. Okay.
No, I'm a nut job. Okay, I've been working on this, on information for Bellicon for a few months, which was their mistake. They gave me the job.
Yeah, it's their fault.
And being a deeply skeptical person, I would research anything to see what the source was, and that actually was someone in reference to the study.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, not long after the study. But the study, and actually, the study is so incredibly boring that I don't think most people have read it. I actually, because I was on the Bellicon clock, I read the darn thing, and it's actually more complimentary than that, to be honest.
Oh, really?
Yeah. I mean, that is a pretty complimentary statement, but they actually go into specifics about why it's better than weightlifting or isometric exercise or running, and exactly how much oxygen content it increases in your body, how it prolongs your stamina. It really, in detail, is actually more complimentary than you'd think, and very surprising. And that's what kicked off, when that came out, that's what really kicked off the craze. And then it died because a lot of cheap rebounders came out. And at first they were like being manufactured in the U.S., Canada, and people were really into it. And then people realized they could sell any kind of rebounder, and people started getting really junky ones, and it wasn't fun to do, and it died out.
Well, this might be a stupid question, but were those junky ones actually causing people any harm to their bodies, or was it just not as fun for them?
Well, what we found is, we talked earlier about Bungees versus springs, and it's no accident that the Bellicon was designed with the Bungees as opposed to springs.
Right.
And although the rebounders based on springs are still going to be good for your body, there's still impact. There's still a minimal amount of impact that occurs because you're not engaging the springs as smoothly as you would with the Bungees.
Right.
So that's what we've found, and that's why the Bellicon exists, is to really get as zero impact as possible, because everyone who's using this is using it for up to an hour a day or more, and you're bouncing how many thousands of times. Every little impact you make is going to build up to you, and it's designed to be a regular form of exercise. Mm-hmm. So over the course of years or decades, there are people who have been rebounding since the 70s and are only finding out about the Bellicon now.
And we get a lot of them, and they've got all sorts of, some of them have real health issues from being on trampolines that do put stress on their joints, on their knees, on that sort of thing, and it's a real relief. Actually, I just... in case I know we're just talking a mile a minute, because whoever asks us about this junk that's in our head. But,
right, so it's got to come out some point, right?
Yeah, exactly. That's right. It's either this or therapy, and this is much less expensive. So, but I, once again, skeptic, OCD geek, started researching it, and there's a reason why springs will never do it. Justin, your point is great. Why didn't they think of this earlier? Right. I thought that too. I'm like, this makes so much sense. But the thing about spring rebounders, it surprises me people still do it. There's a thing called Hooke's law, which is the physics law behind the way a spring works, and you can't get around physics. And the problem is, a spring has to try and get back to its resting state, whether you compress it or stretch it. And it's going to follow a very distinct, if you were to graph the tension on it, a very distinct pointed graph. If you were to graph it being pressed in and stretched out. And on those points, you get stress. And there's really nothing you can do about it. Whereas a bungee, like with the Bellicon bungee, which is a very specifically designed bungee, you're never going to reach the terminal stretch. You won't do it on a bounce.
What do you mean by terminal stretch?
It'll never stop.
Oh, I see. Okay.
Yeah. So you'll never have that jerk, and that's the thing that actually hurts your knees, your vertebrae, your joints. That's the thing that actually gets you over time. Not at first, but over time it does.
Yeah,
and that's what they've tried to avoid. When
I was using my old one, I would notice in my upper neck even, they would get tight, my lower back and my knees. I have a torn ACL that I never had surgery on. I had some prolotherapy on it and some things like that, but never had surgery on it. And so it was really important for me to have something soft and bouncy. And I would notice when I used my old rebounder,
it would act up.
Yeah, there would be times where I couldn't even use it because it would, and my goal was to use it 15 minutes a day, and I couldn't do it because it would hurt my knee too much.
Well, just as a note too, for people who are listening to this, either they've been rebounding or considering it, the one issue that does come up sometimes that you really have to check out and make sure it's okay is knees are such a funny joint. They're such a delicate joint, and I can honestly say that the Bellicon is the best choice for someone with that issue because it is going to be gentler than anything. But even that, for some people with real issues, they shouldn't do it. They're going to have to find another exercise. But that's actually rare. In most cases, this would be the way to go.
Yeah, I would think that a lot of people have knee problems and ankle problems, especially as we get older. And if this is designed to be something that is being used on a daily basis, then the bungees are just clearly the way to go.
Right, and the other thing with knees, especially knees, the human body is not designed to be walking on hard, flat surfaces all day, every day of their entire lives. The human body is not designed that way. It's designed to be on sand, grass, dirt, and in softer surfaces. So when we talk about treadmills, right?
Yes.
When you talk about, impact and what's happening to your knees, you can almost slow down those inevitable effects of knee problems in your older years by rebounding, and especially on the Bellicon. That's what we're doing. That's what we're trying to promote, is a soft way to exercise. It's not going to hurt you. Mm-hmm. And I think we're getting it out there.
Mm-hmm. Now, I've heard some claims by different people about rebounding, and one of the things I heard recently was it relieves 7/8 of the shock to the skeletal system. So, is that have you guys found that to be true, or have you looked into the amount of shock that happens to the skeletal system?
I would say it was more like 15/16 or 13. I'm kidding. I don't know. I'm joking because that's such an odd number. I can't say that I know that number, but
right.
That the proportion makes sense to me. It actually, honestly, sounds a little low. I mean, because if you were to graph the tension on a bounce, I mean, you go from zero gravity, of course, at the peak of the bounce, mm-hmm. to 2 to 3, up to 4 gravitational forces at the bottom, depending on how heavily you're bouncing. You never, as I say, you never reach a full stopping point, but I would imagine there is some tension at the bottom because of those gravitational forces. But I guess that makes sense. I can't confirm that because I don't know it, but it makes sense. It sounds about right.
And how many? I'm looking at the Bellicon here, ours, and we've got the larger model. I'm not sure if they have different amounts of bungees, but do you know how many bungees are included in each mm-hmm. Bellicon?
Yeah, 42 you've got the 49-inch, that would be, it's 42, so it's 36, 44, oh, I'm sorry.
36.
Yeah, damn it.
42.
He knows better.
It's 42 individual bungees.
Right.
Wow. I would have thought more looking at this thing. I think because they're doubled, they look like there's
exactly.
tons of them. Yeah,
they look like they're about 2 inches apart. And so do you guys working there? I'm sure you spend part of your days doing this, don't you? Jumping on the Rebounder.
Yeah, sometimes we've got a cordless phone for customer phone calls. And sometimes they say, Stan, it sounds like you're out of breath. Are you okay? And I'm like, no, I'm fine. I'm just, I'm bouncing.
Yeah, so if you call Bellicon, you say, oh, it's good to see
Oh, man.
Well, Justin does it we take turns on our break. We fight over it now, like, who's going to do it? And then we have to make sure we're like, okay, catch your breath before we go back on the air. It's pretty funny.
It's funny with the Bellicon as opposed to the other one that I had. When I get on it, it's just such a different experience, and it changes the whole motivation to want to do it at all, because with the other one, my goal was just to do 15 minutes a day. And, it was really difficult for me to do that. I would do it, but it wasn't fun. It didn't feel good. It wasn't motivating. I didn't think about it when I was on it. Or when I wasn't on it, I didn't think, oh, I really want to get on the Rebounder. But now it's like I have all this motivation because it's actually fun. It's such a different experience.
Right. We actually work in offices. The showroom is sort of the central piece of the office here in Chicago. But our offices have glass walls that look out onto the showroom.
Okay.
And when we're talking to someone from another office, we often wander out into the showroom. And without thinking about it, we step up on one of the Bellicons, and we just start bouncing as we continue the discussion. And everyone kind of does it unconsciously.
Uh-huh.
And because we also have competitors' models on the periphery of the showroom, after I'd been here for a little while, I was actually bouncing, talking to Philip, the owner of the company, about something, and thought about the fact that, made some comment about the fact that we all do this. And then I asked him, there are all these other rebounders here. Does anyone ever do it on those? And he thought about it for a second and said, I've never seen it. And that really was interesting to me.
Yeah.
Because you just you wouldn't think to do it. It's not something you would you wouldn't be moved to do that.
Yeah.
Yeah.
On these, you actually kind of want to get back up on it.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's really motivating because that's a whole part of staying in shape and doing fitness routines and things. If you're not motivated to do it, and the experience is so pleasurable and so soft and so bouncy. And with my old Rebounder, I barely got off the mat because the bounce was so short. Like the duration of the bounce was so short that I barely got off the mat. But with this one, I'm leaving the mat by 6 inches or so, and that feeling that you get when you're in the air is
well, and then without even trying, you just keep like bouncing.
Yeah.
Now we compared the two side by side, and now it just feels like the other one you're jumping on a pile of bricks. It's hard. It's really hard on your body.
Exercise. It's not actually part of the Olympic canon of exercises yet, the brick jumping.
Hey, we just got a question in our chat room asking, in your opinion, is it better to rebound on springs or not to rebound at all if you have a spring rebounder?
Yeah, I mean, just because all the studies have shown how effective and efficient rebounding is, and these are studies that were conducted way before the Bellicon even existed. I mean, those studies were done for a reason and had the results that they found for a reason. So we always recommend, hey, you know what, the Bellicon obviously is, based on the materials we use and the bounce and the quality of the bounce, the durability of it, obviously is one of the better rebounders you'll find. But, if you're going to rebound at all, it doesn't matter if it's springs or bungees. But and obviously, if you want the best, you have to look at Bellicon.
And actually, to add to what Stan said, I totally agree with him. I mean, it is such a good form of exercise and a very overlooked one considering its benefits. Mm-hmm. I would agree with him. I would disagree with him a little bit in that those studies he's mentioning, like the NASA study, there are very few of them, by the way, because it's still sort of it's a niche thing. But they're based on trampoline bouncing. And as you two both now know, bouncing on the Bellicon, the point of it was to emulate that experience a lot more in a mini trampoline.
Right.
And it's much more like that than a spring rebounder is. It doesn't feel really like jumping on a regular trampoline very much.
No.
Yeah, it's much different.
So those studies don't directly, and that's one thing I've done in a lot of this research. I've realized, when they're doing these studies, they're on trampolines, and that's a different jump.
Yeah, it's very much different, but it feels like you said. I mean, with the Bellicon, it feels very much like that. We got to take a little break here right now, but we'll be right back. We're going to run a little ad for. Let's see, what are we going to run an ad for, Kate?
I don't know. What are we?
Our Qigong course.
Oh, let's do it.
Qigong course is good. So we'll be right back, and we'll answer some more questions and talk more about the Bellicon. And it's interesting because maybe after the break, we'll talk a little bit about just the Bellicon in the marketplace because, with blenders, you see, a Vitamix or Blendtec blender could run you, I don't know, $400 or $500. And somehow that's become normal. People accept that kind of price. And like you were saying, John, earlier, who's going to pay, $600 for a Bellicon?
Right.
But, it's a matter of education and letting people know really what
they're getting,
what it's all about, and people, get what they pay for. So we'll be right back. Yeah, we'll be right back after this break. I have to say, I have been absolutely loving this product by Tristan Truscott and Peter Ragnar called Good Morning, Good Evening Qigong. If you want to listen to the interview we did with Tristan, you can go to extremehealthradio.com/127. And Qigong is a great way to de-stress the body. And as you know, there's a huge component to disease caused by stress. And stress is a huge factor in how we live our lives and the amount of energy we have and the amount of vitality we have. And so, Dr. Shade, what do you think about Qigong?
People come to me and they're really sick and they got this blown out neurological system and all this toxicity. And I tell them, you need to do Qigong, Tai Chi. You need to do these things that settle down and restore your neurology, because it puts together all the parts. It puts you back into that state where you can start to detoxify. And so I highly, highly recommend all that.
And what about you, Kit Campbell? What do you think about Qigong? Do you like it as well?
Qigong is amazing. And the reason that I believe it to be amazing is everything here is energy. That is a scientific fact, if there ever is one. So when you're practicing Qigong, you're actually drawing energy into your body. Your intention, whatever your intention is behind any action, will determine the level of energy, type of energy that you absorb into your body. So your intention behind is very important, just like thought. So when you're practicing Qigong, you're actually bringing energy in and you're bringing out the stuff that might be a bit stale. With Tai Chi, it's totally different. The energy runs underneath the skin because it's more of a martial. This is the Chinese understanding, by the way. It's more of a martial art. So Qigong is very, very good for bringing that energy into the body, and just fantastic.
If you're interested in picking up this Qigong course by Tristan Truscott and Peter Ragnar, go to extremehealthradio.com/Qigong. That's QIGONG. And you can learn more about it. There's a great video on that page, and you can learn more about it on that page. And I highly, highly recommend this product. I love it myself, so go ahead and check that out. extremehealthradio.com/Qigong.
Listener supported. Extreme Health Radio. Opening minds and transforming lives worldwide. Don't forget to join our thriving community for health tips, inspiration, and show updates at extremehealthradio.com/Facebook.
Well, we definitely walk the talk, don't we? We just got off the rebounder, didn't we?
I just pulled off a Cirque du Soleil move on that one. Did you see that?
Of that was quite the little move you did there.
I know. Just keeps getting better.
I think we need to take a picture of that. That was good.
We'll send it over to John and Stan. They'll love it.
Oh my gosh, this is really, really good. A good interview about the Bellicon.
Yeah.
This is just an amazing thing. It's just an amazing rebounder, and it's really unlike anything that you've ever bounced on before. And it's sort of similar. I think, John, before the break, we were talking about, like things like the Vitamix or high-end pieces of equipment like that, where people don't seem to have a problem, realizing there's a $500 or $600 price tag to something like that. Has there been a lot of education that you guys have had to do, educating people about how this isn't just your regular thing that you get down at Walmart,
All the time. I mean, that's actually, I've known Philip since he moved to the United States. So years before I ever walked in this door.
Uh-huh.
And as I was telling you before, Justin, I used to make fun of him about the price point when I learned what it is.
Yeah.
Saying, oh yeah, that's going to go over really well here. Yeah. That's what I want to do, is bleed money over a mini trampoline, and I kept that up just to, of course, annoy him, being a friend of mine, until I actually helped him assemble some on a weekend.
Uh-huh.
And, started looking at the gauge of steel when I started talking about, this geeky stuff, but just looking at the welds, saying, this is really pretty amazing, these welds. And he said, oh yeah, we spent over $500,000 on the machine just to do the welds. And then I started realizing, these guys are not fooling around. They're sincere about all this stuff.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. And, we get that question all the time. That's part of entirely what we do here is educate customers about rebounding and about the Bellicon in particular. And really what it comes down to is the reason why the Bellicon is the leader in the market is the bounce itself. The bounce that you're getting is the softest, but also the firmest and the smoothest.
Softest, but firmest. There's a truth in that, yeah.
There is. And
there's a consistent tension. I'm sorry to jump in, Stan, but what he's saying is it's what you can't do with springs is, the further, it's Hooke's law once again, the physics of a spring. Uh-huh. The further you stretch it, you can just graph the tension will increase proportionately. What you can do with bungees that you can't with springs is you can step around Hooke's law, and you can actually have, through the middle part of the stretch, it has the exact same tension. So it'll go through a whole period of the stretch where the tension doesn't change. And that allows you to dip more deeply into the mat and engage your muscles longer with less stress.
Mm. I see. So one of the biggest differences with the Bellicon, when you first look at it, is just simply how high it is off the ground compared to other ones.
Right. Yeah.
And that's why, right?
Twice the height. Yeah, absolutely. It's sort of weird. It's twice the height.
Yeah, because you have such a deep bounce. I guess that there's a need for that.
Yeah, and actually that's why we, each order is hand assembled. We assemble it to order, and so we have something like 7. How many variations?
We're adding in colors and new frame styles, so almost 1,000 different combinations are possible with the Bellicon.
So the idea is, colors aside, the idea is that we have several different bungee strengths so that we can match it to the weight, primarily the weight, but also the fitness goals or health issues that someone has, so they can get the most out of that. The stretch down into the mat, which is where all the exercise is, without touching the floor. So, we're trying to get them the most out of it, which is why we have to make each of these separately.
In your experiences, do these things do they wear in? Like, do you settle into them? Do they get better with time? Or do they always have the exact same bounce as when you first got it?
With the bungee cords, one of the only trade-offs I would say with this versus a spring-based rebounder is, they're made of rubber. It's an incredibly high-quality rubber that you don't find in many types of products out there in the world. But it is rubber, and all rubber, the more you stretch it over the course of time, will lose elasticity. So what we find is it'll wear out to the point where it's just not as fast of a bounce as it was when you first got it. And that happens on average for most customers about 1.5 to 2 years. So there is a replacement period at that point. And you notice it just doesn't have the same lift. You can still bounce. I know we've got employees here who've had Bellicons for 2 years or more that said, I haven't had to replace the bungees yet. It's definitely not as fast of a quick bounce as it was when I first got it, but still bounceable. So it's just a matter of how much tension that you want as you go. Eventually, it is essential that you do replace them. What's the average amount of time per day that someone would jump or that you would recommend someone jump for it to last 2 years? At least 15, 20 minutes a day. I mean, just to really unlock all the benefits of rebounding, you don't need to do it for an hour to get the lymphatic flush or anything like that. You don't need to do it for an hour. You can do it for 10 to 15 minutes, 20 minutes for most people. And, everyone that uses this is in different health condition. There are people who are in the best shape of their lives who are athletes. And then we have some folks who are like, hey, you know what? Like, I have 2 knee replacements. I can barely walk without any pain. This is really one of the only exercise methods available to me that won't hurt me. So for those people, obviously, they're not going to be on it an hour a day doing intense cardio. They're going to be doing the health bounce. They're going to be doing gentle stuff. Right. But on average, like I said, about 1.5 to 2 years is what we see. And it also it depends on how many people are using it. We've got some families that are 3 or 4 people using it for half an hour a day. Just like tires on a car, the more you drive it, the sooner you'll have to replace. But I think that is the trade-off. I think if there is one, is you do need to replace the bungees, but the benefits I think outweigh that.
I mean, they've actually the bungees were designed to perform a certain way primarily, and not to make them eternal. They were, so the materials used are to create that. The tension arc I was talking about, and that's what they focused on. And the fact they last a year or 2 years is not bad, considering that was not the primary focus. Right.
Well, from the emails and the stories you guys have heard, what kind of health conditions are people really seeing the benefits of the Bellicon?
Holy smokes!
Using it? Yeah, I want to know.
You have no idea. And the funny thing is, we're at this point we're still a relatively small company. There are only a few of us who regularly do customer support, and there are a lot of people with some really difficult issues that call in, and it's actually a nice crowd here. We have a lot of fun actually at the office, but it's very sobering. I mean, we do talk to some of these people quite a bit, and we remember them. I mean, months later, and there's a bit of worry, because you're not always sure if these things are going to help, and we try and we're really, really interested in making sure that people are satisfied and are using it, and that it does help. So you'd be amazed at the range of things that people call in with, and some of them, we have to say, gosh, I can't answer that. That's a very technical medical issue, and I don't know. But we get a lot of people with weight issues. That's a big one, or people who just are sedentary. They just have not been exercising in a long time. And then we also get, heavy duty athletes that, we have professional athletes. I'm not going to name names of people that, but we have a Bulls player who That's what he does.
That's close enough to a name drop, I think.
Well, I mean, I have to say that's someone who's holy, who's famous as an athlete and who takes it very seriously. I mean, but hey, if we're name dropping or whatever, I don't remember the guy's name, which is terrible, but the guy just won the middleweight, who is right now the world middleweight boxing champion. Look him up on the web. He did all of his training on a Bellicon.
Oh,
we were shocked here going, what? How did he even hear about us? He's in England. And his trainer said, I felt like we needed to just start from ground up, try something new. And this is what we decided to do because it's going to get him in. I knew it would get him in shape. They've not contacted us. We just see them pull the thing out on like the BBC and at interviews. I'm like, holy smokes. And that's what he did. His primary training was on the Bellicon. And he is right now the world's middleweight champion boxer.
Wow. That's amazing. So for someone coming in off, the internet and they find this show, and this is a question that you get all the time, but what are the main benefits of the Bellicon or of rebounding? Why should people consider this as part of their exercise routine, do you think?
Okay. And this, great question. And that is the question that really bugged me at first. Right. As Philip's friend before I ever walked in here, because he kept listing the benefits. And my father was a doctor for 45 years, incredibly dedicated guy. I mean, his eulogy, where they were just quoting what he would say about his commitment to his patients, which was absolutely true. The guy gave everything to that.
Wow.
And so I grew up knowing a lot about that story, but also in a very skeptical environment. Two of my siblings are university professors. We're all very skeptical. Mm-hmm. So when he would list these benefits, I would just smirk. I wouldn't actually argue. I'd be childish on him. Smirk and roll my eyes. And say, oh yeah, and because it wasn't possible to have that many diverse benefits from something so simple, and that seemed obvious to me. Mm-hmm. The more I have researched it, trying actually to refute a lot of this stuff, and some of it you can, some of the stuff I've heard, but I'm amazed that it actually holds true. And what I've had to do is sort of reconfigure my view of how this works. Mm-hmm. The only way to explain all the things, the lymphatic flow, which is something that is one of the things that people are very interested in. The cardiovascular benefits, the musculature benefits, which are very real. People wanting to deal with osteoporosis, trying to increase flexibility. I mean, this just goes on, and a lot of health issues. Mm-hmm. The only way I can explain it is, okay, I finally realized, it would only have this list of benefits is if this is actually replicating something we should be doing every day. And that starts to make sense. And something Stan said earlier where naturally we'd be going over grass and hills, and that's true. I mean, 5,000 years ago, that's what we did all day long was chase the herd, right. Or go scrounging around trying to find plants, but we were always moving. We were always jumping, going, running, doing those sorts of things. And so we actually have physical systems that are built to do it, and that are built assuming we're going to do it, like the lymphatic system, which doesn't have a pump. It assumes we're going to be moving in the way that the Bellicon bounces because lymphatic fluid is so thick. It doesn't just flow, and there's no muscle like a heart pumping it. You need muscular contraction, and you need motion to get it through the system. And the body just assumes you're getting it because we were up until very recently.
And don't we have something like 3 or 4 times the amount of lymphatic fluid than we do blood, isn't it?
Gosh, is that true?
It's something, amazing like that, where it's just an incredible amount of lymphatic fluid, more than we have blood. And so when you said we don't have a pump for it, it's just, you can see how if that gets stagnant, that's why I'm sure doctors look for your lymph nodes in your armpits and your neck. And if they say you're sick,
it usually pools those areas.
Yeah, usually pools in those areas, protecting your heart and lungs and all that.
Well, that's the lymphatic system trying. I mean, that's why when, for instance, cancer spreads, it's the body trying to cleanse you of it and getting backed up, essentially. It goes to those, it's almost like, I'm just creating this metaphor now, but like rail stations, those are stations on the way to purging impurities and toxins from your blood and your system. And, it's the body trying to do it. And they look at those lymph nodes, which are like train stations, to see if they can get a larger amount of it there. And when they see them, like, okay, the body's got poisons it's trying to remove, and it's not able to do it.
Right, and it's almost like when they sat down to design the human body, they said, okay, well, how are we going to handle it?
Hey, this was a group. Interesting. Stan's got the inside track.
The council.
More.
The council.
The council.
The council. When they sat down to do that, they said, okay, well, they got these toxins building up, but everybody's running around all day, every day, right? So that's a natural
right.
pump. So we don't have to worry about...
What's next on the agenda, they said, at the council. Right.
Can we get their number so we can have them on the show?
Stan, please. Here it is. 555.
Of course, they're in L.A., of course.
That's right. The council's in L.A.
The council's in L.A. Oh, man.
I am dying.
That's hilarious.
Oh, that makes sense, though. That totally does.
Oh,
That's a good metaphor, actually.
It's a good metaphor, and it's good fodder for teasing Stan for the next week. So that's good. Hey, Stan, I'm going to get some coffee. What's the council say about it?
What did they say about
That's hilarious. Well, this is a great time for a break. When we get back, I want to talk about how people talk about rebounding as a cellular exercise, much more so than really anything else you could do, because when you go to the gym, that's more of a muscular exercise, and you have aerobic and cardiovascular. But this is really something completely different. Although it does have muscular benefits and cardiovascular benefits, it is an incredible cellular exercise. So maybe we'll touch a little bit on that when we get back from the break. This is a fun show.
This is the best show. I love it.
Yeah, this is a great show.
You guys are great.
Okay, we'll be right back right after this break. Did you know that calcium is what eventually causes death to all mammals? Did you know that excess bad calcium can actually cause internal fibrosis, inflammation, and can over time shrink your internal organs, causing them not to work properly? Excess bad calcium has been related to heart disease, cancer, arthritis, heart attacks, strokes, digestive issues, cataracts, and just about every known disease. Best-selling author, researcher, and health motivator David Wolfe has put together an incredible program that Kate and I love, and it will teach you exactly how to rid your body of this excess calcium so you can have the kind of body you had when you were a young kid. Imagine being flexible, having 20/20 vision, no joint pain, tons of energy, and feeling like you can conquer the world. The Longevity Now program can help you do just that. It's really, really good. So, David, this calcium issue really is a big deal, isn't it?
It is a known thing in the natural healing profession, even in the medical profession. Let's say somebody gets on birth control pills. They have a very poor reaction to it. Their immune system malfunctions as a result of the hormone change in their body. All of a sudden, boom, they've got like rheumatoid arthritis. They're 25 years old. Immunological problem going on with a joint. So what is the connection between hormones, immune system, and calcification? And there is a very strong connection. It's been well noted in the literature since the beginning of time that age-related calcification, stress-related conditions, for example, arthritis, for example, coronary plaque formation, for example, kidney stones, gallstones, Alzheimer's, which in the old days was called brain sand. It's a calcification of the brain. Why do all these things have something in common, namely the formation of excess calcium in the body, and what can we do about it? And that is, as you know, a big focus of my research. And
like you said in your program, it is what eventually takes down all mammals, isn't it?
It is, yeah, exactly. But for example, let's say you had a tortoise. The tortoises can live 500 years, some of them. But what finally gets them? It's arthritis. Finally gets a tortoise. And that's the great undertaker of all the noble life forms. They eventually get calcified. I get into every nuance of that, what it means, what the new medicine of the future is going to look like. Why calcification? How is it even happening? Should we take calcium supplements when we're dealing with calcification? Which the answer is no. Do not take calcium supplements. They're going to accelerate the calcification. And we just cover it from every angle. So I think it's going to give people a really cool breath of fresh air as to where we're going with our longevity understanding. And for example, arthritis does have something in common with cancer. They both have connected to an excess production of calcium in the tissues. It also has something to do with eczema and psoriasis, which when you scrape eczema and psoriasis off and you analyze it from a mineralogical perspective, it's excess calcium in the skin, lots of it, actually. It's like scale, right? It's calcium.
So it really does relate to everything. And Does it also cause fibrosis and the shrinking of internal organs and things?
Yeah, it can cause hardening of the organs. It can cause damage to the organs. And we know that from the kidney stones and gallstones and even cataract. Like, what's a cataract in your eye? It's a formation of calcium in your eye. You know, you start to see it sometimes in elderly people. They start having a fog in the eye, in the iris, and then in the pupil. Calcification, that's calcium again. This is not something I don't think we can have time to really break down right here, but I get into the understanding of what is calcium. You know, calcium is the end product of an alchemical lifting up from hydrogen all the way into solid matter mass, which is calcium, that's used as an exoskeleton or skeleton or fibrous material by vertebrate organisms and even invertebrate organisms that can form the structural part of your body. But then when you pass from this planet, it's left over as a residue on the planet.
If you're dealing with any kind of chronic long-term illness, or if you just want to turn back the clock many, many years, you really need to look into this Longevity Now program. It comes with tons of DVDs, audio programs, recipe courses, and a huge book with step-by-step daily protocols of exactly what to do to achieve massive results. To learn more about it, go to extremehealthradio.com/longevity, or you can check it out in our store as well. Again, that's extremehealthradio.com/longevity.
All free shows, all the time, on Extreme Health Radio. Opening minds and transforming lives worldwide. Join our community today. Sign up to our email list and instantly get our free gift to you, along with loads of inspirational content and cutting-edge tips to help change your life at extremehealthradio.com/subscribe.
All right, we're having a great time here. One of our most fun interviews we've ever done. This is good stuff. The council has spoken.
The council says this has been the best interview as far as entertainment value.
Oh my gosh, this is good fun.
This is great.
If you guys are looking to get the Rebounder, there may be, or there is actually, a Black Friday special going on. I know Bellicon doesn't run too many specials, maybe once a year or less even, but they have a Black Friday deal going on. So if you want to check it out, you can go to extremehealthradio.com/Bellicon. That's B as in boy, ELLICON. And that will just simply redirect you over to their website. And you can check out the Black Friday thing, and you can learn more about the Bellicon that way too. That would help support our show, and that would be a really great thing if you want to learn more about the Bellicon. And before the break, we're talking a little bit about rebounding being a cellular exercise, and it's quite different, really, than anything. It seems so simple, doesn't it? Just jumping up and down, but there's just a lot going on at the cellular level when you're jumping up and down, and it really does sort of...
You're bragging, you know? Just because it's easy for you to jump up and down, you know...
I should have thought twice.
I'm vertically challenged, you know. Going up and down is just very disorienting. I'm not actually. I'm just. I'm all of a sudden thinking, boy, maybe there are vertically challenged people.
And they jump side to side.
I'm a horizontalist. I really don't do the vertical thing. But yeah, it is so simple. That's exactly right.
Yeah, and it really does exercise and sort of clean and massage every cell that we have, right? Because it's really different than any other form of exercise.
Well, yeah, not entirely. I mean, you're going to get similar things with some types of exercise. It's just that nothing is. I can't think of anything offhand that is so directly related to those things as this. And once again, it's the only way to explain that is that this is the kind of motion we would be doing. And naturally, we would be doing a lot every day, so that we do have systems doing it. And it also does sound like another one of those outrageous claims. Oh, yeah, it's cleansing your cells, but it actually is one of those things. You need that sort of G-force pressure, and actually, it's not just the pressure so much as the alternating pressure and relaxation to do it, because the pressure will actually detoxify cells. They need that tension. To actually press toxins out of the cell. And then you need the relaxation for the flow to go. I mean, it's just like the lymphatic system, it has valves. The lymphatic system has valves where, so it keeps things moving in one direction, so that it also needs the relaxation for the valves to close and prevent backflow, and then the pressure again to continue to force it through. And the cells work similarly.
Is there a difference between jumping high off the mat versus just doing like what a lot of people call a health bounce, where your feet don't leave the mat?
Yeah, it's one scarier than the other. Actually, around here, we all like doing the big bounces. Look at me. You do regress a little bit on this, Right. Look at me. Yeah, I mean, you're going to get, well, one thing, you're going to get a lot more G-forces on the way down. So, you don't want to do that. And actually, this was an argument yesterday that happened in the boardroom here. So we were working on some of the projects, and Philip, who is, I will say this only behind his back, a very honest, ethical man. So I'm not going to say that in front of him because he's a friend. But it's true. And when we were talking about people really exerting themselves to a great degree on the Bellicon, and people getting it, to do these, because we do have, professional athletes using, he said, that's fine, but that's not what we're about. I'm like, why not? And he was saying, because there is it's not purely an American ethic, but the idea that push yourself to your absolute limit is the way to go. And he said,
I see.
That's not true. That's not what you do that, and you could, number one, hurt yourself. Number two, you won't keep it up. And number three, it doesn't benefit you to do that. And strangely, there was a study that came out of Duke University just recently that actually supported, they did a big study. I don't know how much it cost. I kept looking for the price tag on it, but about what happens with a moderate amount of aerobic and strength training. What happens if you just do aerobic training? What happens if you do just strength training? What happens over time? How does your weight change? How does your oxygen level change? And what they came up with was essentially what he's been saying all along, which was that he's right. Moderate is better. You have more gains with it. And it's something his father, the pentathlon, there's got to be a word for it. I just don't know it.
The council will guide you.
What'd you say?
The council will guide you.
Okay, everyone's talking about the council now. It's just another party I wasn't invited to. But his father's been, promoting that forever. And it's right. And you can actually kind of tell, so what you're doing, Justin, the 15 or 20 minutes is actually brilliant, because, there's no real quick fix to anything lasting. And that's what you want to do. The best possible thing you can do is integrate it into your sort of daily life. And what's nice about your Bellicon is that you can actually do it while, like Philip was saying, you should be able to do it and talk to people.
Right. Yeah, because the bounce is so soft, it doesn't have that jarring where it changes your voice, and you're going up and down in such a jarring motion.
But you can actually, believe me, you can jump on it to a degree where you can't talk just because of the amount of cardio exercise you're getting.
Right.
And what he was saying is, don't do that. Don't push yourself that far, because although it may be satisfying to your ego, it's actually not helping your body.
Do you think there's a benefit to doing like 15 minutes all at once, or doing it at sporadic times throughout the day?
Well, the studies that have come out have shown, and this is through the National Institute of Health, and it's almost universal. Ideally, you want to get a half hour of exercise 5 days a week that increases your oxygen and heart rate. That's what you want ideally. Okay. And we have, right now, 2/3 of Americans are overweight, and half of that number are obese.
Wow.
We don't get it. We actually don't, we just don't do that. And that's what, once again, that's what we're built to do. So ideally, it's a half hour. It doesn't have to be. You will notice, Justin, if you keep doing 15 minutes, 5 days a week, you will start noticing strange things happening, as I did when I started doing it. I'm walking differently. These stairs were easy. It just happens subtly, and it happens in different ways. Stan?
Yeah, I feel the same way. And when you get off the Bellicon after rebounding, it's almost like you expect the floor to bounce you a little. You know?
Yeah.
Everything else seems a little easier, because you're not engaging all of your muscles in the same way when you're just walking. When you're walking or even climbing stairs, you're using some muscles, but not all. But on a rebounder, on the Bellicon, you're using all of your muscles to actually maintain your balance and to continue bouncing. Just to not fall off. You're using muscles in your hips and your shoulders and your neck that you don't use on a regular basis.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, it's such a unique experience. And you know what is cool is I've been learning about this recently is the lactic acid. And does rebounding, it helps with lactic acid building up, doesn't it?
Yeah, and that's actually during the releasing period, because it does, as Stan said, it's, some major muscle groups like your legs and your lower back are going to be more engaged just because it tends to be more of a lower body exercise because your legs are doing most of the work with that. But strangely, all of your muscles are actually, because there's that G-force that's happening universally across your body, all your muscles are resisting it to some degree. And you add to that the proprioceptors, I think is what they call them, all the balance mechanisms going on, where your body is unconsciously just keeping you upright and keeping you centered. Proprioception. Proprioception,
yeah.
Right?
Nice.
Is that right?
Yeah.
Right? Okay. Can you give me a word for pentathlon this, Sue, since you got that one? Pentathlonerists. Pentathletes.
There you go.
Is it, right? Pentathletes?
Pentathlete.
Daggnammit, that is it. Pentathlete, of course. Oh,
Yeah.
Now Stan's acting like he knew it all. Yeah, John, pentathlete. Pentathlete,
Of
John.
course.
The council just texted and they said that they agree.
Dang that council. So now I even forget. So yeah, proprioception. So all those things are acting on your body. So a lot of this happens actually unconsciously.
Mm-hmm. It's interesting. We just got off the phone with Dr. Patrick Vickers doing the Gerson therapy for cancer down in northern Baja, California. And he talked a lot about lactic acid and how lactic acid buildup is directly correlated to the oxygen transfer to the cells. And if there's too much lactic acid, then the cells get too much sugar. And this relates to cancer. And I think about lactic acid buildup too, because I work out in the gym, and it's really great to have something that cleanses the lactic acid out of your body, so that you can recover during your off days, so that you're strong again on your days that you go back to the gym.
Now you just got the Bellicon, so I'm just wondering if you've actually noticed that, because I do know that it will do that with lactic acid, and it's actually great for people who are doing other forms of exercise as well, particularly like weightlifting or something where there would be more soreness. If they incorporate some of this, it will flush the lactic acid. They won't have that soreness the day after in the same way. I can't guarantee that it won't be not there, but I do know that it will be addressed. It'll be lessened.
Yeah, it'll be lessened to a significant degree. I heard of the people doing the rebounder, even so much so as they'll do it in between sets. So if they're doing bench press or something, if they're doing heavy weight, while they're resting, they'll jump up and down just so that they can get rid of the lactic acid, because that's what
From building up.
Causes us to. Weightlifters are only concerned with that in terms of being able to recover so they can go lift heavy weights again. But yeah, I've heard of people doing it.
People. That's what I look forward to too.
What's that?
Yeah, I'm just looking forward to the next heavy thing I can lift. That's sort of that's my slogan.
That's your goal.
Yeah.
I've actually.
Let me give you a hand with that desk.
I work a lot with studios, like fitness studios from small to medium, and some of them do rebounding classes. Where they have 8 or 10, and everyone does exercises that way. But I also have actually recently been working with studios who are purchasing Bellicons for exactly what we're talking about. They're really like pumping iron types of gyms. And they said, I know what the benefits are. And in between sets, I have actually had this conversation with a gentleman in the Boston area who has 3 locations, and he's looking to get them. And he's like, I just really want my guys and girls to do this in between sets, in between really intense sets. I think, he mentioned the lactic acid buildup, trying to lessen that. and just the other benefits, getting the VO2 going, getting your cells energized and lymphatic flow. It's a low impact, easy way to supplement what they're already doing. Mm-hmm. And he's like, I just found out about this, and I've been doing research, and I think this is going to change the way that my clients work out and the way that they stay in shape.
It's interesting. And so, go ahead, Kate.
Go ahead.
No, I just wanted to ask before we close out, I know we're kind of rounding up the show here, but a lot of people are going to want to know, how many calories does it burn? Is there...
That's actually, it's a funny issue. And, I hope you can tell, aside from, my jabs at Stan, which, believe me, he deserves, and more. Aside from that, I have, and Philip, the owner, being a friend of mine, I have no reason not to be completely honest. We don't work on commission or anything, and I actually would like not to be in Philip's or Stan's presence. So leaving here would not be there's no downside. But I'm being as honest as I can. The thing with that is, once again, there aren't that many studies about actually rebounding, or in particular, rebounding on a mini trampoline. There's quoted, I have found in different places, a study by a doctor. This would have been about 10 years ago. And I've actually tracked down some of the information about it, but I'm not going to put anything out on the website or anything like that that I can't confirm personally. So I actually have not had a chance to read the study, but he apparently did a study with mini trampolines, comparing it to running, et cetera. And it showed, this is offhand, showed about a 10 or 15% more calorie burning than running, for instance. The only really intensive study that was done with jumping would be, once again, that NASA study. And it's pretty clear there, because what they're looking at is, they were looking at heart rate and oxygen consumption. So that together, that gives you a very good picture of how many calories are being burned. And it was definitely, not only was it more than running, which was surprising, but the people doing it, and this is something you will now have firsthand knowledge of,
right,
said it doesn't feel like I'm working as hard as I was when I was running. And yet the studies were showing, they were monitoring these guys. They were actually, their hearts were beating more strongly. They were using more oxygen. They were actually exercising more, and they would continue longer jumping because they enjoyed it.
Interesting. Golly.
Even though it was, burning more calories.
Yeah. We had one quick last question in the chat room, wondering, in your opinion, is there a better time of the day to rebound? Is morning better than evening, or vice versa, or depending around meals, or is there an ideal time to get the most out of rebounding?
I think, in my personal experience, I rather rebound in the morning. I feel like, because of what's happening at every level, I feel like it's energizing me. It's waking me up. That's aside from everything else. But scientifically speaking, there hasn't been a study that I've seen that indicates what time of day is optimal. I can just say that when I do it in the morning, I feel refreshed. I'm a runner. I like to run, but as I go on, the more I run, the more my knees ache, the more my ankles are not great anymore. But with rebounding, that doesn't happen. So in the morning in particular, I don't like running. I hate running in the morning because I feel worn out by the time I even get to work.
Yeah,
I feel tired. I feel like I'm not energized. But with rebounding, I can do it for 20 minutes or 30 minutes. It wakes me up. It gets my systems going, and I feel fantastic. So I always recommend, I talk to customers every day, and I get the same question pretty frequently. When is a good time to do it? I say, you know what, split it up, but try, if you can. Try to get some in the morning, and you'll be amazed at the way you feel.
I actually have done a study myself on this, and the best time is during Seinfeld episodes. So you want to check your TV schedule and get a good Seinfeld episode, and then set up your rebounder. And it's the key to success.
Time flies when you're having fun with Jerry.
That's right.
Exactly.
So, did you want to say something?
I have one last question.
Is it bounding or ringing or what is it?
Hey, one last question. I was just curious. It just popped into my head. Do you guys get a little bit more, I don't know if you'd call it resistance, or a little more skepticism from male buyers versus female? Because I don't know if you guys get a lot of guys going, I don't know what a little trampoline's going to do for me. I'm a weight guy. I'm a blah. I mean, are they a little too proud sometimes until they know the facts supporting this?
No, strangely, we get like I think our customer base is definitely larger women than men. But we actually, because we do Stan and I both have talked to a lot of customers. No, I mean, what comes to mind is guys getting all geeky about it, where women kind of want to know more about the effects. Everything. Guys will start calling us back saying, I did a study about if I bounce 3 times, then I looked at the stretch of it. It's like they'll actually get into the weirdness. You know what I mean?
Right.
Like, I found that if I put it at an angle or I stand like this, like a teacup, then I find, they get, geeky.
But I think what I find also is I talk to mostly women, I'd say 60-40%. But the men that I speak with, for some reason, it seems to me that when I speak with customers who are men, a lot of times it's people who have been rebounding for a long time. It's not somebody normally who says, I've never heard of this, I just found out, it sounds great. So it's like, I've been rebounding for 30 years, I just found out about your product, it sounds amazing. That seems to be what I find a lot, actually.
Okay.
Wow.
So this is a really great machine for people of all ages, people that are older.
And all genders.
And all genders. All 2 of them.
All 2.
All 2 genders. But it's great because you guys also offer a balance bar for people in case they're worried about balance, right? They can have a little bar that comes over. They can hold on to that while they're jumping, right?
And just as if that's good if you really do have balance issues or strength issues. We get a good number of people, we run the gamut. So we have people who are rehabilitating, and we have people who are professional athletes. So there's a gamut. But you can also, if your worry is, will I be able to bounce, without popping off onto my head, what you'll find is that it's a very natural action, and you adapt to it very quickly. But if balance isn't a perpetual issue with you, you can just pull 2 chair backs alongside it first, just to give yourself a little sense of security, or put it into a narrow hallway. So you have the walls right there. And then when you realize, this is fine, then you can put it wherever you like.
I see. Okay. And as far as the Fitbit goes, I know you guys offer that along with the Bellicon. Does that actually count how many times you do jumps?
It does. Yeah, roughly about, if you're rebounding for a minute, it's going to be about 100 bounces. And actually, it's funny you mention that. We love the Fitbit here, almost too much. We're actually doing a December challenge.
Okay, this was a big mistake. You should not have brought that up.
Well, it's the 3 Kuhnharts versus 2 of the Americans. Another guy who works in the office building, Taylor.
Yeah, so that's what fitness is all about, competition. Okay, go on. Health is too. Go on. No, I'm sorry.
It's about winning.
Right, good. John. Sure.
But it's two of us versus 3 of them. We think we can outstep them and outbounce them in 1 month. And they're pretty confident, and we are as well.
So Stan has Fitbits dangling from every part of his body right now. And I don't think it's fair to add up all the different Fitbits into one number, I think.
No. Wow, that sounds good. That actually sounds like a really cool thing, though, to have the Fitbit so you can count your bounces. People are interested in that.
And they're actually pretty amazing. I mean, it's not the only, other manufacturer that we offer on our website. We actually, don't make any money off that. I don't know if I'm supposed to say that, but we do it just because we all like it,
Yeah.
It's a great motivator.
Yeah, it is. And it's great to be able to see, oh gosh, I can't believe I did this much. And it's pretty amazing. It also knows how many staircases you've had. I don't know how it does that. Like it'll say, oh, you've walked 3 flights today. I'm like, how did it know that? It's kind of creepy.
It is kind of creepy.
Yeah,
I think it's connected to the NSA somehow.
Yeah, Snowden is on the other end of that thing.
That's right. He's stepping again. Yeah. No, he's bouncing.
Oh, man.
This has been fun.
So I want to tell people also, with the price of the Bellicon, you guys do offer payment plans through 2 different methods, right? I want just to let people know about those 2 methods of payment plans, because when people see the price, obviously they're a little taken back, but these payment programs are really, really a good thing.
Yeah. Generally, for that, what we recommend is folks check out, really the main method to do this is to go through PayPal and use a service called Bill Me Later. And it's really great. It offers a lot of flexibility. It allows you to pay in full within 6 months, and they don't add on any charges or interest. And it's totally supported and handled by PayPal. So anyone who's interested in doing that, what I recommend is go to their site. If you already have a PayPal account, great. If you don't, sign up for one, and then you can try to apply for the Bill Me Later service, and they'll approve you. And then you can go on and make your purchase and use PayPal as your method. So it's that's the first step. If you're interested in doing that, get on Bill Me Later first, and then go ahead and, especially during the Black Friday sale, go through extremehealthradio.com, go to the Bellicon section, and then place your order.
I see. And then oh, go ahead.
Oh, I think that was you echoing.
Oh, was it me?
Yeah,
okay.
yeah.
And then you also offer a 3-part payment program if people want to still complete the transaction on your website. Is that right?
Yeah, you'd want to give us a call for details about that.
Okay. So the Black Friday deal is running, let's see, today's Wednesday. So the Black Friday deal happens starting what time on Friday?
Midnight, Friday morning. So we process everything in the order it's received. So if you want to get one as soon as possible, I would get on there early and of course go through Extreme Health Radio, get on our website and order. And it runs through Sunday night at midnight. So you've got 72 hours to look at the options, look at the colors, which, believe it or not, is a stumbling point for a lot of people. I get some customers who call and say, I want the 44-inch, I want the screw-in legs, I need the Ultra Bungees. And I'm like, oh, okay, what colors would you like? Like, oh, man, I didn't even think about that. Oh.
Yeah, I realized that was really hard, and then you throw that at us.
Oh,
right.
Yeah.
So what's the difference, really quickly, between the Bellicon Color Edition and the Premium on your website?
The main difference will be, the look. The classic, Bellicon Classic Edition or Color Edition, is going to be a steel frame. It's painted black with a powder-based coating. But the Bellicon Premium is going to be a stainless steel, so it looks pretty sleek and looks pretty professional. It's pretty scratch-proof. It's hard to really make any kind of nick on that thing. I mean, you can have it for 20 years and it probably looks brand new as long as you take care of it. And also a little bit of an extended warranty. So you get a 10-year warranty on the premium frame and a 5-year warranty. And that being said, I mean, they're steel. It's really hard to break these things even if you're trying to. And John has, and he's been unsuccessful.
No, he's referring to my weight right now. Yeah, it's funny because I'm actually, you're probably getting, I am a bit of a nut job. I'm sitting here, Stan, there are design differences. Slight, I agree, slight, but there are a little bit of design differences. I'm sitting here thinking, yeah, he's not mentioning that. That's okay. Because actually I've never heard of either frame failing. So,
okay.
They're really, that's another thing you'll notice if you get one. Just the quality of, they're very simple design from, visually very simple, but the quality is really there.
And so would people ever, so they would have to possibly replace the Bungees every couple of years, possibly. And then would they ever have to replace the mat? Have you guys ever seen that?
Not really. I mean, it's polypropylene.
It happens.
It happens on occasion.
Rarely.
But I'd say, the vast majority, that mat will last your lifetime. As long as you're taking care of it and, not leaving it outside or not leaving it in the elements. If you use it indoors, it should last your lifetime.
Well, actually, let me point out, though, there have been on occasion some that start to, you can see, something has happened. Who knows if it fell out of a window? Who knows? Because these things are built like tanks. But I've never seen one that we've replaced out of warranty. I mean, if anything happens, there's a 5-year warranty on them. We just send you a new one.
Oh, okay.
So,
okay.
That's that.
Wow. Well, this is good stuff. Thank you guys for being on. This has been by far the most fun and interesting interview we've ever done. I would love it.
Oh, we've had a blast. It is such a break. Not having to be stuck in a room with Stan and Philip and these other obsessive compulsive geeks.
It makes all the difference, doesn't it?
In cold Chicago. Talking to you lovely California people. Don't send me back, please. Don't do it.
We'll ask the council and we'll get back to you.
Yeah, we'll get back to you.
Thank you. Thanks.
This was great.
Well, thank you guys so much for being on and for talking about the Bellicon, and really, really appreciate your time today.
Oh, it's fun.
Justin, thank you for having us.
Yeah, thanks so much.
Okay, thanks, guys. We'll talk soon.
Great. Take care.
Okay, bye-bye.
Bye-bye.
Wow, that was a fun show, wasn't it?
They are so cool.
Oh, my gosh. Yeah.
Oh, they should have their own comedy hour.
Oh, my gosh. I know, right?
Those guys are great.
I won't get over that council business. That was
that was so funny.
Oh, now they're creating us.
Whoever was, they sat around and created us when they were talking about what to give us, arms, legs.
Oh, it's they now.
It's they. That was funny.
Oh man, they're hilarious.
It started off funny before we went live too. They're just a bundle of fun. Those guys.
Yeah.
That was just that was perfect. Just the right amount of joking and silly. In all reality, I mean, that was such good information. The whole package that was a great show.
Right.
I enjoyed it thoroughly.
Yeah, it's one of those things where we promote certain items and certain things, and we realize there's a cost to these things. They are expensive. I mean, this thing I think we have here was $670 or something.
Yeah, I think it was.
But what we did is the same thing as what Stan and John talked about at the end of the show. Is we just did it through PayPal. We did it through the Bill Me Later, and we were going to pay it off in 6 months. And it's really, really, I think, a great way they have that set up. And it sounds like they're just a small office, and they all know each other. There's not hundreds of employees there. And they just sound like they have a good time, don't they?
Gosh, that would be a great place to work, wouldn't it?
It would.
I mean, I was listening to him going, I want to hang out with you guys in your office. If you're going to be in an office situation, I'd rather be bouncing around, laughing with them too. I mean, they get work done, but they really seem like they have a lot of fun. I love that family type atmosphere. I know. I really value that in business. Yeah, it's really great. And And we realized that there's a cost to these things. And kind of one of the things that I brought up during the show after the second break was just the idea that, something like this could cost, $700. But we get so used to the idea that something like a blender can cost that much or a sauna can cost that much. But, when you really look into what this thing is and what it does for you, it's similar to the Vitamix. It's similar to the sauna in terms of all the benefits it has for our health. Right. And, these things do cost money. And when you pay for something, you get what you pay for, And believe me, we've gone through, how many rebounders have we gone through? The cheapies. 2 or 3. And it's not even close. Yeah. I still can't get over. I mean, I was kind of, I said it and it was silly, but it's true. I mean, I really feel like I was jumping on like a hard surface, like a pile of bricks compared to the Bellicon. Right. People, it's amazing, like Stella's question being answered as far as, is it better to rebound on springs or not to rebound at all? It obviously is good to get your lymph system any way you can, as long as you're not, overdoing it or hurting yourself on springs that are hard. Right. But this is the Porsche of rebounders, in my opinion. Yeah, it's so good. And, it's just nice knowing it's there because, to be able to flush out your lymphatic system. You could do it through maybe perhaps jump rope, but then you're putting all that strain, 100% of that weight, of that G-force on every joint in your body. And that's, over time, that's not going to be good. Right. But if you're looking to build bone density, if you're looking to cleanse your lymphatic system, if you have any kind of disease, this thing is just incredible. It wouldn't be a good way to get over a cold or a flu or a chronic disease if you didn't have one of these things. Absolutely. Absolutely. And a lot of people like them for their ability to build bone density too. Mm-hmm. And that's something that happens when you jump up and down. The acceleration, the deceleration, and then gravity, all three of those things work together to put this strain on every muscle in our body. And it allows for our muscles to be pulled and stretched off the bone. And that causes the bone to build in strength. And it's just incredible what it is. And if you guys are interested in this and want to purchase it through us, we'll get a little commission, and that will help support our show. But we just really think that you guys are going to love this thing. Mm-hmm. If you go to extremehealthradio.com/Bellicon, we'll put a link on this show page 186. That's BELLICON. And that will just redirect you, and then you can make a purchase there. Use the Bill Me Later. Go to billmelater.com, sign up for an account, and then go to extremehealthradio.com/Bellicon, and then make your purchase, and you can pay it off in 6 months. Yeah, because we would have had to save up a little bit longer. So having the option to have it now, and already the effects we're having from it. I was told by Chris Kaler, Stella brought up a good point in the chat room, that when I had this small lump in my lymph node under my left arm. Oh, yeah. Chris Kaler did some energy work, but he said also how important it was to use the Rebounder. And so I've been doing that. And thankfully, we've actually had the Bellicon since he recommended that. And the thing is, I can't hardly locate it right now anymore. So clearly,
Wow.
between the energy medicine and my time on the Bellicon there and laying on the biomat, I mean, there's all these things, but
Yeah.
it has definitely aided in the shrinkage of that little blockage, I
Yeah.
should say, or virus settling in my lymph system.
And it's cool too because on a purely fitness level, it does increase your cardiovascular, it does increase your aerobic abilities and your lung capacity, and it does tighten and tone your legs and your butt and your back and every muscle in your body. And so it does really firm you up, which is cool too. But we don't even really do it for that. We do it for the detoxification and for the cleansing and for the high you feel.
But hey, if I get a 6-pack without thinking about it, I'll be stoked.
I know, right? Because when you jump on there, you're feeling your stomach.
You really do feel your core. I was shocked, and my core is not my strongest point in my body.
You've done it a few times in the morning, huh?
Yeah, the morning is my favorite time to do it, I have to say. It wakes you up. It gets you going. It makes me really happy. You feel like you're floating when you get off of it.
Yeah, it's like some kind of endorphin rush, too.
It totally is. Yeah. And I do it on an empty stomach because even if I have a little bit of something and jump on that, I tend to get side cramps,
Oh, yeah.
Like that. So, yeah, I try to space it between meals and drinking water and tea and all that liquid.
Yeah. I try to do it throughout the day. I'll do it all at once. I'll do my 15 minutes in the morning. And then as the day goes on, I'll just jump on and off it for a minute here, a minute there.
Yep.
But I want to get that Fitbit. I think that's pretty cool.
The Fitbit sounds like a great addition to what we're already doing.
And this is something that I am concerned about with the Fitbit, though.
What?
I'm concerned about the wireless activity going on with that because it is transmitting and receiving wireless data, I believe.
Yeah.
So I'd like to check the EMF fields coming off the Fitbit.
Really interesting.
You wouldn't want to put that next to your
pulse,
your glands or something.
Yeah.
But
that's interesting. Good point.
People will do rebounding with oxygen who have cancer. Now we can't say that rebounding cures cancer because nothing cures cancer. Only God can cure cancer. But people that have cancer, what they'll do is they'll buy some oxygen tanks and they'll breathe in that ozone, I think, or oxygen. I forget what it is, but they'll breathe in that during the time that they're rebounding. And it's supposed to be incredibly powerful.
Wow.
For cancer and everything else.
I have heard that. I talk about getting oxygenated in every cell of your body if you're doing that at the same time.
Yeah, some people like to use weights, because if you have a 10-pound weight or a 5-pound weight, that's going to be increased by 3 times.
Why is that? Because
there's 3 times the amount of G-force that happens. From what I understand, I may be wrong on this, but as far as I understand and the research I've done, you have 3 times the amount of G-force. Maybe John could help me on this. That gets applied to every cell in your body. So it's 3 times the amount of body weight. So if you're 100 pounds, that would be 300 pounds of pressure on your cells and on your joints. Well, not really on your joints because the bounce prevents that, but amount of pressure on those systems of the body. And so if you're 100 pounds, that will be 300 pounds of G-force applied to the body. And so when you do a weight, some people might do jumping jacks or something with a 5-pound weight. Well, all of a sudden that's 15 pounds, of weight.
Right.
And you couldn't do jumping jacks with 2 15-pound weights on each side, but you could if you're rebounding.
Exactly. It's kind of like when you're in the pool swimming, you can do things you'd never dream of on the land.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah, it's a pretty fascinating thing. There's really a lot to it. It just seems so simple, like I told him, just jumping up and down, but there's really a lot going on at the cellular level that we just don't even understand yet, I think.
There's a question in the chat room, one last one for you. If you're holding 5-pound weights, are you going to get bulky when you jump on the rebounder? You going to bulk up with the weight?
No, because a 15-pound weight wouldn't. It's not enough weight to develop any kind of bulk. You'd
have to hardcore lift.
Yeah, you would have to lift so much weight that you couldn't even lift more than 5 repetitions.
Oh, okay.
Typically, if you're worried
really
about getting bulky, yeah.
Okay.
But if you're just lifting, 15-pound weight, that's not going to do. That's just going to get you tone and firm and that stuff like that.
Nice.
Good stuff. So yeah,
Great.
If you're interested in this, check out extremehealthradio.com/Bellicon. If you have any questions, you can email me, Justin@extremehealthradio.com.
Or me, Kate, Kate, at extremehealthradio.com.
And if you have any anything that you want to say about this show, you can always go to
ask the council.
Ask the council.
I'm just kidding.
The Tribal Council.
Right.
At extremehealthradio.com/186, and you can make your comments or add your questions to that show page at the very bottom of this page. So hopefully you guys enjoyed this show, and if there's anything we can ever do for you, just let us know. And if you get the Bellicon through us, no matter when you buy, you could be listening to this, 3 or 4 years in the future. If you get it through us, I'd love to hear your experience with it. Let me know. Send us an email or tell us, how much you like it.
I'm sure John and Stan would appreciate that too, because it sounds like they really connect with their customers and want to know people's journeys with it and the outcomes, because I'm sure like they said, they take on everything. They want to catch up with people and figure out how they're doing. And
right.
So yes, feel free to send us all emails and let us know, because I'm interested as well.
Yeah, good stuff. All right, guys, thank you so much for listening. And
happiest Thanksgiving to everyone, and hope you enjoy your families and your health and everything we've been given tomorrow. And
that's right.
Always.
All right, guys, thanks so much for listening. We'll catch you guys on the next episode.
Thank you for listening to this episode.
It's time to go for now, but our mission does not end with this show.
Justin and Kate will be back with another interview packed full of ideas, discoveries, and unique ways to regain your health.
Head on over to extremehealthradio.com/subscribe and instantly download our free gift too that contains cutting-edge strategies to start making healthy lifestyle changes today.
No material on this blog is intended to suggest that you should not seek professional medical care. Always work with qualified medical professionals, even as you educate yourself in the field of live food nutrition and alternative medicine. I'm not a doctor, nor am I offering readers or listeners medical advice of any kind. None of the information offered here should be interpreted as a diagnosis of any disease, nor an attempt to treat or prevent any disease or condition. While information in this blog and during this podcast is discussed in the context of numerous conditions, it can be dangerous to take action based on any of the information on this podcast or in this blog.